Right after I congratulated Karm on being honest enough to admit that there is such a thing as a lack of belief, I realized that they lied about what a lack of belief meant. So here goes. Matt Slick in the article, "I Lack Belief in God," states the following. Atheists tell me they lack belief in God the way they lack belief in invisible pink unicorns. In other words, they have no position, take no intellectual action, and have no belief or unbelief on the matter concerning God. To them, it is a non-issue. This is why the lack of belief defense we hear from atheists is not logical. It ignores the reality that people categorize concepts anywhere in the range of total acceptance to total rejection. It is our nature to do this. We don't do nothing with information. And that brings us to the seventh lie that Christians tell and why they tell it. That a lack of belief means having no position concerning a claim. The lie can be lifted word for word from Matt Slick's article. Lack of belief is defined as a non-intellectual commitment or non-action concerning belief. But here are the facts. While a lack of belief can imply non-action concerning belief, in this case it doesn't mean having no position or taking no intellectual action. That's fairly obvious. Matt says that atheists lack belief in gods the way they lack belief in invisible pink unicorns. Is he seriously trying to suggest that rational, sane people have no intellectual position regarding invisible pink unicorns? Or even claim to? I don't believe that unicorns exist, invisible, pink, or otherwise. And in exactly the same way that I don't believe in unicorns, I also don't believe in Zeus. I don't believe in Allah. I don't believe in Apollo or Poseidon, and I don't believe in Jehovah. I see all of them as make-believe, and most people would agree with me about not believing in these things. Some people would then make an exception for one of these things, but like me, most people lack belief in most of these things. So what does a lack of belief mean? It means that I don't totally reject the claim as impossible, but having never seen any evidence indicating that the claim is true, I don't believe that it's true. I acknowledge that unicorns might possibly exist somewhere, but I've never seen any evidence that they do, so I don't believe that they do. Same thing for the flying spaghetti monster. Same for cyborg pirate ninja Jesus. Same for Cthulhu. All of them, the unicorns and the gods, might exist. But since there's no evidence that either unicorns or gods exist, and since I only want to believe in things that are real, I don't believe that either unicorns or gods exist. Having no position means something else. It means you have no stance at all on the issue. And that's definitely not what I do with unicorns. Matt goes on to ask, if I said there was an ice cream factory on Jupiter, what would you think? Would you entertain the idea as a serious possibility? Would you quickly dismiss it as an outlandish absurdity? Would you request evidence for it? And it's clear in the article that he's leading us to think that quickly dismissing the idea is the only appropriate choice. But he's wrong. Requesting evidence is the only appropriate response to any claim. Allow me to demonstrate. What if I said there was a species of lesbian lizards on Earth? That's right, lizards. All female, all lesbians. What would you think? Would you quickly dismiss it as an outlandish absurdity? Or would you request evidence for it? If you said that you'd request evidence for it, you picked the right answer. The reason being that reality does not conform to your opinions, or your preconceived notions of what is and isn't ridiculous. I think that your religion is ridiculous, if not downright stupid. You probably think that other people's religions and pet superstitions are ridiculous. You might also think the idea of lesbian lizards is ridiculous. But it doesn't matter what you think, or what I think, or what anyone thinks. What matters is whether or not there's any evidence that any of these things are true. And while there's no evidence that any gods exist, there's plenty of evidence that lesbian lizards exist. Here's their commonly used name. Here's their scientific name. Here's a link to a Wikipedia page about them. Here's a picture of one. Here's a couple more pictures. And the one on the left, you guessed it, girl on girl lesbian lizard action. And if you still don't believe me, here's a zoo where you can go see them for yourself. You see, when you structure your beliefs around evidence, you end up with a more accurate grasp of reality. But when you believe things without evidence, and then on top of that dismiss other things as ridiculous without asking for evidence, not only are you delusional, you're narrow-minded, and your whole life you'll be as ignorant as you are right now. From the evidence that Matt gives, it's fairly clear that he's aware of all this. There is no way that all the atheists he's spoken to have no stance concerning invisible pink unicorns. It seems suspect that he would even believe that. So the truth is that lack of belief in this context means acknowledging that the claim is possible, but not accepting that the claim is true. In this case, because there's no evidence to support the claim. The why is the same as always. It's because there's no evidence that any God exists, and the only appropriate response to an entirely unsubstantiated claim is a lack of belief. Even Christians know that, and do it all the time. I think that unicorns probably don't exist. I can't prove that they don't exist, so I don't claim to know that they don't exist. But there is no evidence that they exist, so I don't believe that they exist. Say this about unicorns, and everybody accepts that it's reasonable. Say this about gods, and suddenly people like Matt are up in arms. Why the double standard? And let me ask you this, Matt. What do you think about unicorns? Do you believe that they exist? And if not, why not? Because if you're rational, sane, and honest, as soon as you fully explain your stance on unicorns, you will no longer need me to explain my stance on gods. If you know of a lie that Christians like to tell, please send me a message with that lie and I'll make a video about it. Other than that, please rate the video, subscribe, and wait for more. There's more coming.